There is no way that he just said this. And Sheldon Keefe has spoken out for the first time since the brutal Toronto Maple Leafs loss against the Boston Bruins the other night. And he had a lot to say, and it was a bit of an embarrassment. So I'm going to break that down in this episode. But before we do, a quick reminder, hit the subscribe button. If you're a part of the 80% who are not subscribed and you enjoyed the daily content, we're posting multiple videos a day, 4 to 5 videos. Make sure to hit the subscribe button if you want to stay tuned for that. We're on the road to 9,000. And thank you guys again. And Darius, we've been waiting for it since the loss. Sheldon Keefe finally spoke out on a lot of things. He spoke out on his future. He spoke out on just the team in general. And let's get right into it. Here's what he had. I mean, there's a lot of quotes here, so we're just going to be kind of breaking them all down. He said, quote, "We're in the business here, or in the results business here, sorry, and we didn't get results, and we haven't met expectation. As the head coach, I take responsibility for that," which is true. He does have to take responsibility for that, and there's a lot of them, so we're going to be going through it here. He says, "Today, really the worst day of the season. We didn't get results, and as the head coach, I take responsibility." So let's start with that. He was basically asked about a lot of things. He said he takes responsibility. He even said he takes responsibility for Mitch Marner's lack of performance in this playoffs and said that he thought Mitch Marner had an okay series, which is ridiculous in itself. What are your thoughts on this first bit of comments before we get into all of it? Because there's a lot to discuss here.
Yeah, ridiculous to suggest that Marner had a good series. I mean, yeah, sure, he shut down the Pasternak line for a bit, but he didn't perform offensively himself, and maybe he was decent on the PK. But anyway, that's a different topic. Sheldon Keefe. I'm going back and forth thinking about this press conference that just happened, just wrapped up, that I love the fact that he did come out and he took responsibility for it and accountability. We haven't seen that, and we've gotten gaslit a lot the last couple of years where he says, we're very close, and, you know, I bounce this way or I bounce that way, and we put in the work here. And he just came out and said, this sucks. We lost. I take accountability for it. We have to be better. And I like that. And I think that's what Leaf fans were calling for. I like it. I think that's exactly what we wanted the whole time. Just take accountability and said, we sucked. We have to be better in these areas. But then I also bounce the fact that should he have even been out there today to answer these questions? Because if they are going to fire him, throwing him out there to answer some of the questions that were asked, I feel is a little embarrassing for not only the organization, but for Sheldon Keefe himself, especially if he knows the writing's kind of on the wall. Because some of the questions too were very, like, obviously you can't ask him how he feels about him possibly losing his job in 2 or 3 days. Like, he's not going to be able to answer that, and he can't answer for management either. So you do have to ask him about the coaching stuff and the games and stuff like that. But I feel it was a little embarrassing at times, some of the answers he gave, because there's not much you can answer for anymore. I think he's asking a certain level of the players. The players were not giving it to him, and that's a whole different topic too, that at this point he's lost, and he's taking accountability for the loss, which he should, because he's the coach. But I think he's in a mode where he just seems defeated and emotionally, like, wrecked at this point. He doesn't know what to do anymore with this team, and I think he is going to end up getting replaced, and it sucks. I think he's a good coach, but I think he wasn't able to get anything out of the players anymore, and they probably need a new voice in there. And it just sucks that he was thrown out there today to answer the question. I think he has to answer the questions, give him a chance to answer the questions and face the media one last time, especially if you're letting him go. But at the same time, that was a tough watch.
Yeah, and again, we didn't cover it in a video, but usually they don't do it like this, where they have Sheldon Keefe speak out a couple days before management. So it seemed like the writing's on the wall. He looked a little bit defeated. And we'll get into some of the more comments, but they did actually kind of ask him about his future. And his answer, obviously, he doesn't, I mean, he probably knows, but he can't say yes or no. You can see some of the, consensus thoughts here. It looks like he's been crying or he's about to cry. Either way, he's emotional. He knows he's gone. That's kind of the sentiment I got from it, especially with the way that his answers were. It's almost like he was auditioning for his future coaching job rather than trying to also stay with the Toronto Maple Leafs. And this was the big question everyone was waiting for. Keefe on his confidence level about getting to see this through as the coach of the Leafs. I'm in the coaching business. That decision is out of my control. And he kind of mentioned he'd love to be a part of this group going forward. But, it seems like his time is up. I mean, we've been saying that for a while now. And I don't know. He looked very defeated. And obviously anyone's going to be defeated. It's the worst day of the year, like you said. It's the worst day of the season. It's the worst day of the season for us Leafs fans, too. Having to watch the Boston Bruins take on the Florida Panthers tonight at whatever time, 7 o'clock Eastern. Well, we have to deal with all this that's happening today as fans, but it looks like he's on his way out, and some of the comments were fine. He says it's out of his control if the Leafs management and ownership decides to bring him back. I believe in myself greatly. Right here, that's the big one. I love coaching the Toronto Maple Leafs now more than ever. I believe I will win, and our team will win. Like, this is the one where it seems like whatever team, and there's probably a few teams that if he gets fired, he will have his phone ringing just to try to give him a different chance. Because like we said before, and you've mentioned it as well, I think it's not going to work with the Leafs. He lost the room. They need someone more veteran in the locker room for the Toronto Maple Leafs, but I could see him working for another team. He kind of saw it with Paul Maurice a little bit with the Jets. He kind of lost the locker room. He got fired. Everyone thought Paul Maurice was the problem. He goes on to Florida, and now he's a part of a very good team. But I don't know, Darius. It seems like he's auditioning himself a little bit here for a different team.
I think you bringing up Paul Maurice is very interesting because he actually left the Jets because he found that he was losing the room and he was like, I better get out of here before this gets worse. And he went to the Florida Panthers and it's gone pretty good. So I feel like some of this is Sheldon Keefe even saying it's out of my control at this point. It really is. I put my best foot forward. I think Sheldon Keefe is a good coach. And just because he lost the room doesn't make him not a good coach. And the messages just weren't getting across anymore. And the whole joke right now is as soon as he gets fired from the Leafs, hello, it's the Pittsburgh Penguins. We'd like to offer you a contract so you can come back to work with Kyle Dubas. And something like that might happen. But again, I think he just lost the room and you've tried it too many times. It's over. You probably have to try something new. And again, I think a little bit of it was politicking today, some of his answers where he's trying to get the point across that yes, he does believe in himself, and I think he should. Anybody should, but maybe trying to get another job as well and save face a little bit. But yeah, just disappointing all around. Of course, it's the worst day of the season. You guys should still be playing, and yeah. It's just it's heartbreaking, and it's tough to see him too because he's just been thrown out there where he's like, I have no idea what's about to happen, and we didn't get the results. And I feel like it was a little bit, or mostly, whatever you want to say, it was on the players too.
Yeah, and he got outcoached, quite frankly, by the other coach in that series, and which is the unfortunate part as well, is him, obviously, like you said, getting thrown out today. He probably knows more than we do if he's going to be fired or not for sure. And I feel like this consensus obviously is that he's going to get fired. But it's hard to watch. I mean, even it's hard to watch some of these players like, get emotional about all the stuff that's happening because you have to feel for them a little bit. Like it's not working and they can't really do anything about it at this point besides that now obviously make big changes, but it hasn't worked forever. They thought they were going to be able to win with this core and even with this coach, and it just didn't work. It's like, is it never going to work unless they make another change? And he says our entire team needs to score more and come through more at key times. A revelation of a quote there by Sheldon Keefe. I couldn't even come up with that myself. It was very good. And obviously they need to score. The offense is horrible, but I think ultimately his time is up. Any final thoughts on this? It's I think that might be the last interview we get officially as Sheldon Keefe as a Toronto Maple Leafs head coach.
I think it is. The writing's on the wall. I think this is the end. And listen, I don't think it's one thing or the other. Everything, the whole organization, it's a bad mix. I said it in a previous video. No two things are working together. You need to find the right mix. Nothing is going right for them right now. And I think that was the last time we hear from Sheldon Keefe. And if it's not, that would be shocking. That would be shocking. So I do believe that was the last time he spoke. And again, like you mentioned, sometimes with Keefe, you just get these answers that are just like, yeah, we know. We know. We watch the games. Yeah, we know we needed more offense out of the forwards. We understand that. So just fun times all around here. It's going to get very exciting real quick here this week. And it's that might have been the last time Sheldon Keefe spoke as the Leafs head coach.
Yeah. And yeah, that'll wrap it up. Sheldon Keefe's on his way out. He's on his train out of Toronto, and we think, and it'll be interesting to see if we, I mean, maybe not. Maybe we'll be surprised and they end up keeping him. But either way, we'll have you covered. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you very, very soon.